Guess what? We got Lizzie here tonight, and she's going to be kind of talking about cravings and how we're getting on with cravings. And also, I've got someone else with me tonight. Hello, Sarah. How are you?
All right, thanks. Nice to see you, Steve.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. We can have a chat in a minute. Elizabeth, last week we were talking about weight loss, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
And we were saying we were going on to cravings, and I stopped you and I said, next week we're talking about cravings.
Indeed, you did.
Right. So let's start with cravings. So tell me, I'm at the moment nighttime for me with cravings is a great big difficulty at the moment. So what can I do about it?
Well, there are a number of things that you can do because it all depends why you're getting your cravings. It can be because you've not eaten enough, or you've not eaten the right things, or you lack any protein, or you lack any fat, or you're not getting enough sleep. I mean, nighttime cravings are very common because we keep ourselves up too late. And we're under artificial light, which we all are now because it's dark, and that triggers the body to stay awake. And if you
artificial light,
yeah, lamps, television, gadgets, and some of the gadgets let off the blue light, which can interfere with your sleep, and because it suppresses the sleep hormone.
I've never heard of that before. About artificial light with weight loss.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Because the problem is, if your body is tired and it wants to go to sleep, because you stay up late with artificial light and gadgets and blue light from television and mobile phones, your body wants to go to sleep, but you don't put it to sleep, and your body perceives that to be a stressful situation. Right. And your body doesn't recognize the fact that it's not a saber-toothed tiger or something scary. Your body just knows, I want to go to sleep. And your body perceives that to be a stressful situation. It can release cortisol, and cortisol will drive craving. So it's very common. Right. It is very common.
Right. Okay. Sarah, have you got anything to say?
Well, it is hard, isn't it? I mean, cravings can come in all sorts of forms, can't they? Whether you're craving to, drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, overeat, it is very, very hard to deal with them. And I personally think I've struggled with eating issues throughout my life in various forms, and actually having counselling, having therapy, talking one-to-one therapy was the best thing I ever did, because it got to the emotional reason as to why I was wanting to eat. I totally agree with you as well about what you were saying about the light and all of that.
Yeah.
To and our relationship with food is often an emotional one. That was certainly the case for me. And once I got to the bottom of that, why I was self-soothing and self-comforting myself with food, that helped enormously, because then you can think, what else can I do to comfort myself? What else can I treat myself with to be kind to myself other than eating food? And finding other things that you can do. And it's amazing how the mind can master it.
Yeah. So, because when I went to boot camp, Liz, as I was saying before, when I went to boot camp and lost all that weight, when I was 32 stone, lost all that weight, went down to 22 stone in 6 months, right? I was thinking to myself, gosh, I've lost a lot of weight, but I've done it too soon. Right? And I was And what they were doing when I was at boot camp, they were putting like small amounts of meals in front of me, which I wasn't used to. 2 bites, it was gone. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So Liz, so if somebody's really craving for food at night, like myself, right, craving for food, what can be done? What can be done?
Well, like Sarah said, and I mentioned last week, if you have some kind of addiction to food, that would need to be addressed by a specialist, and that is not my area of expertise at all.
Right.
So, I can advise people what to do, how to make sure they don't end up with cravings. But if there is an underlying issue as to why you keep craving these foods,
Yeah.
then that will need to be addressed. I can only give fairly simple methods to prevent cravings and minimize them. But if there's an underlying issue, then yeah, that will need to be addressed by a
Right.
specialist.
Okay.
I always say to my clients to try not to stay up too late, and don't use the artificial light. If you have to, you can use a softer bulb. Don't sit watching television. Don't force your body to stay up late, because that will drive the cortisol, and the cortisol needs glucose. It's that scenario, that fight or flight, and it will drive cravings. So I tell my people, early nights, eat well during the day. Make sure your last meal's got plenty of protein and fat in it to keep you fuller for longer. We all know that cravings don't have anything to do with hunger. I can eat my dinner, and then a short while later, I'll start thinking about cheese on toast. I'm not even hungry, but I might do that. But that's because it's late at night. I'm forcing my body to stay up past a point it wants to go to sleep. That can release cortisol, and that will drive cravings. So early nights, plenty of rest, and make sure you eat well during the day, but food of the right quality, and not food that stash your like I said last week, certain foods can shut your fat stores down. If you can't access that for fuel, again, that leads to a stressful situation, because your body runs out of energy.
Yeah, because we had a quite good response last week. I think I had around about 200 people replied to me.
Okay.
And they wanted help, and I've got a list here, so I'm going to pass it on to you later on. But the trouble is, I just find it so difficult sometimes when you're like, because I've had strokes and heart attacks in the past, you know about me. And the trouble is with me is like, I am now tomorrow, I'm waiting to see a specialist about weight loss. But because of my faith, I find it very difficult, because I what can I say? I always believe that you shouldn't be carved open and things like that. You shouldn't go for weight loss. You should do it the proper way weight loss. You should do it the proper way, and about food and everything. So, but now my head is saying, well, you need to get the specialist help. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and not go back to
definitely.
boot camp, because when I went to boot camp,
No. Oh, good Lord. They're not even really that great for people that aren't overweight, because it's too stressful.
I
It's
know,
too stressful on your body. It really is.
I know, I know, I know. I couldn't even. I could. Oh, it was difficult. But the trouble is, but the craving. See, I know people. I speak to people every day because I do a support group, and what they say to me is this: they say to me, "Steve, I find it very difficult during the evening for food. Everybody does. During the night, you snack, you snack, you snack. You can be with your husband or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and you're watching the telly, and all of a sudden, something comes up like popcorn or whatever, and everything.
That's all you can think of.
That's it. So how can Sarah's laughing there, but how can we stop it? How can we put our mindset to it?
Well, that is not my area of expertise, Steve. We mentioned this before, the
Yeah,
mindset thing. I can only tell you really simple things. I mean, I walk around the supermarket and I purposely go down the sweetie aisle to look at the sweets. They're my thing. I've got a thing for sweets. And I can be putting a packet of sweets in my basket while I'm telling myself, don't put those sweets in your basket. I still do it. But the one thing I do is I think, okay, I'm not going to think about the enjoyment I will get from eating that sweet or those sweets. Usually it's not one bloody packet, it's about 3. I think, how am I going to feel once I've eaten those sweets? And the likelihood is I'm going to feel bloated, I'm going to feel ill, my heart rate will rise and that will be pounding. I'm just going to feel like crap. And when I think of how bad I will feel, that stops me from eating it. And I actually go back and put the sweeties back on the shelf.
Right.
But I think of how bad is that going to make me feel?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? What do you think, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I think the word diet means way of life, doesn't it? And I think people think diet is something you do for a short period of time to get to a desired weight. And then, as you know, if you haven't taught your body to eat in a totally new way for long term, that weight will go back on again. Very typical, which I have had experience of, where I would lose weight on a specific diet, every diet you can imagine I've tried, and then I put the weight back on again because I hadn't addressed the issue of my relationship with food. And I genuinely believe people have a relationship with food. Some people are scared of it. Some people adore it and are addicted to it. And it is comforting. Food is lovely. You know, food is gorgeous, isn't it? You know, it's and I think particularly in the last 6 months with lockdown, everyone's relationship with food has got distorted because we've been at home, we've been anxious, we might have been isolated, and you can get great comfort from eating food. Or on the other side, people have undereaten because that's their stress response, to undereat. So I you know, I'm a great believer that diet should be a whole way of life, for not just a 6-month period. Like, I agree, the boot camp thing is not a good way for long-term weight, you know, sustainability. You want to get to a weight that's right for you, for your height, for your build, for long-term health benefits, and to be able to stick to it. So you are the same weight, you know, when you get to that weight, you're the same weight in 5 years, 10 years. You don't have to keep buying different sets of clothes. You are that weight. That's you, a comfortable weight for you. And that is, I do believe it's about your emotions, about, you know, what is going on inside of you, your emotional response. That was definitely my issue. I was self-comforting through food and had to learn what was the trigger, what was triggering me. Why do I want to eat? What is it? What am I feeling? What am I trying to hide? What feelings am I trying to hide? Why can't I address those actual feelings?
So Liz, do you do this? What Sarah's saying? Do you kind of like actually look into people's feelings and what's going on, or?
To a certain extent, I will always ask or suggest to the people that I work with, start to recognize your trigger. What is it? If you're going to eat something, take a look. What is going on in your life? What have you eaten previously? Has that set off a trigger? What is going on in your life? Do you have worries? Is there someone else getting in the way? Is there something getting in the way? So yes, I do look at that, and I always say to my people, you know, if you're turning to something, why? You need to look at why you're turning to a certain something.
Okay. Also, what I want to look at is about milkshakes. You're looking at me so strange now, aren't you? Do you believe in milkshakes?
Who, me?
Yeah.
What shakes you mean in general?
Yeah, weight loss shakes. You know.
No. not
slim
really.
fast and stuff like that? No.
No, because like Sarah said, you're not really educating yourself to eat well. And that's just, again, that's a quick fix. That's a stopgap until you lose weight. And then what? What happens
Yeah,
when all your
yeah,
shakes run out? You
yeah, yeah,
need to know, you need to learn about the effect that food has on you when you eat it.
yeah,
What
yeah,
happens when you eat it? And
yeah,
shakes and meal replacements, yeah, they work, but they're not long term. It's a short term solution.
yeah. I know. Because when I was speaking to some people earlier on my group, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, but I buy all these shakes and stuff, and I'm on about two a day, and I have a light lunch and stuff." But I
But
think
that's
it's
not enjoyable either, is it? That's not
not, is it?
sustainable for the long term.
No, it's not.
I
No.
mean, you can eat proper food if it's the right kind of food.
Yeah, yeah. Totally agree. But um, what did you do, Sarah, to lose weight and stuff?
So, as I said earlier, I did have counselling, which really, really helped. And then I also, I was then got really fascinated and interested in nutrition. So I did actually do a nutrition course. I think that was definitely part of my sort of healing process.
All
And
right.
re-educating myself and learning the right kinds of foods that you can eat. And you can eat a lot of them and you're not hungry. You're never hungry if you eat, the right kinds of foods and have then a pattern. And, those shakes and those meal replacements are very, very expensive,
Yeah, I
really
know.
seriously
Yeah.
expensive. And, you can have for breakfast, for example, the best breakfast, I'm sure Lizzie would agree, is something like porridge. Porridge is so cheap.
No,
Well,
see, I
well,
wouldn't.
well, that's what I did. So I
Yeah,
just learned that oats were a slow releasing carbohydrate. And then I'd have oats soaked in water, not made with milk, with then grated apple and seeds, which was for lots of essential fats, ground seeds, and grated apple and yogurt, and that would fill me up for
Mm.
all morning. And then I'd have specific snacks that I would have, and then I'd have a proper lunch, and massive plateful, but of the right types of foods.
Mm.
And
So,
then a
so
sort of
the,
snack
yeah,
in the afternoon, and then my evening meal. And then you sort of stick to it because it works for you, and it's economically it's reasonable.
mm,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so Liz, you were saying about like porridge is not good for you. You
it's
know.
not that it's not good for you. Sarah, my approach is primal, so it's very similar to paleo. So it's very, very, very low carb. But as well with a lot of the grain-based products is they will raise your blood sugar, and that can send obviously your blood sugar spiking. Then you've got insulin, and you can end up on a bit of a roller coaster ride. I mean, oats aren't the worst thing in the world, Sarah, don't get me wrong. But there are better things to consume if you don't want the chance of that roller coaster ride for the rest of the day. So yeah, my approach is very, very, well, it's not very, very low carb, but it takes the majority of the grains out of the diet,
Yeah.
because not only can they promote fat gain, they're actually got quite a lot of toxins in them which can disrupt your gut bugs, gut digestion, and that again can have a negative effect not only on your weight but also on your overall health.
Mm. See, my wife would tell you I can eat porridge. I like porridge, and I actually kind of like I do eat porridge. Kind of nearly every day.
Mm.
At the moment, what I'm doing, I'm trying to lower the sugar volume coming down
Yeah.
each time. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, that's perfect, isn't it? Because it's a slow adjustment. I mean, if Steve, I took you on my books, I would not say, right, that's got to go, this has got to go. It'd be a case of, okay, start reducing those down, but increasing other foods like protein and healthy fats, and
Mm,
low starchy veggies. So it will be a case of just slowly, where are you? I can't get my hands up. Kind of slowly making an adjustment.
Yeah,
on a really slow scale, not suddenly, oh, take that out because it's bad for you. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's the trouble is at the moment you don't know who to trust with your diets and everything. It's too much rubbish out there at the moment, isn't it?
There's loads.
Yeah, I know. I know.
It's the biggest industries out there, and well, we got in our soapbox last week, didn't we, Steve, about it? The diet and fitness industry is huge, and they play such a major role in what the nation or worldwide what we do. Because as well, you've got a lot of old myths going on. I mean, calorie counting alone, I mean, I say this all the time, you can be eating all the wrong foods and still stay within your calorie count, but that isn't the point. The idea is to prevent that sugar spike, and that happens every time you have anything with grain in it or starchy root tubers, as fabulous as they are during weight loss phase, they are best avoided.
Yeah, I just
raises blood sugar. So
yeah, I just find it very difficult, about having. I don't know what that sound is, but
don't know. Can't hear anything.
Yeah. Oh, it's ticking the sound. But I just find it very difficult. Sorry. I find it very difficult when you kind of like, it's a horrible ticking noise, isn't it?
I can't hear it.
Can you hear it?
No.
No. Okay. What it is, I just find it very difficult when you kind of when I eat porridge myself, I eat the porridge, then that filled me up in the morning. But when I go out, I come back and I'm hungry. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, they're broken down quite quickly. Do you have the jumbo oats that are still rolled, still cut, or do you have quite fine oats?
Fine oats.
Well, I'll tell you, one thing you can do is you can get the jumbo oats, get the bigger oats.
Right.
Because then they take longer to break down.
Right.
The finer the food, the less digestion or less breaking down your body has to do, and then it's absorbed quite quickly, and then it's gone quite quickly. So if you're going to have oats, have the jumbo oats that I think they're like still cut rolled or something like that. Still rolled, still cut. Yeah, so just go. It won't make very creamy porridge though, so you might need to soak them the night before in milk or water.
Yeah. So when you used to be on the diet, Sarah, what kind of foods did you used to eat?
So I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, can you hear that clicking noise? Can you? Yeah. What was I going to say? When you were on a diet, when you were on a diet, what kind of foods did you eat?
What foods did I eat? So I did get into a routine of, as I said, I started doing this. I think they call it now like a Bircher muesli, where I would use the oats in water overnight, so then they're really soft. And actually, oats create their own oat milk. And then I would have grated apple and a fat yogurt on top of these seeds. Now, obviously, seeds and nuts are high calorie, but they're actually fats, so they're good for you. Then for a mid-morning snack, I'd have a tea or coffee, oat cakes and a piece of fruit. Then at lunch would have jacket potato and massive salad. But the diet was quite low on dairy products, so I didn't have a lot of cheese and milk. And then in the afternoon again, you could have tea, coffee, fruit teas, oat cakes, fruits, nuts. and then in the evening I would like a big vegetable stir fry.
Right. Okay.
With then so you could loads of veg. So obviously you can eat as much veg as you want. Well, in the diet I was following, and then I would have some protein, like some fish or chicken, and then maybe a different type, like buckwheat noodle. And so you'd be really full. You know, if you that was quite a lot of food during the day, but it was all foods that were allowed on the specific diet that I was following, and it really worked for me.
Okay. Because some diets work for some, and some diets work for others. You know, sorry, some diets work and some diets don't, do they?
That's right.
So are we?
Yeah.
You know, so because it's too many diet. You know, the trouble is, I was speaking to somebody the other day from the Obesity Society. They were saying to me about, I don't know what this noise is, but can you hear it?
No.
No, I've got a noise here. But the trouble is, I was speaking to somebody the other day from the Obesity Society, and they were telling me that when you go to a shop now, in about the next couple of weeks, when you start going shopping, they're going to have these big labels on the foods and everything, okay, and saying, well, do not eat if you're over a certain weight.
Well, that sounds bonkers to me, to be honest.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to say, if you are a certain amount of weight, don't eat it.
Oh, well, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because, like we said before, it's not really addressing anything. It's just telling you what you can and can't eat, but you've got no idea why. And I bet you any money it would be low fat. Anything with full saturated fat in it will probably be off limits. But this is the problem. I mean, the industry's all a little bit out of date because there's nothing wrong with saturated fat. The problem is the inflammation that goes alongside the fact that you're consuming saturated fat, and the things that cause inflammation are the sugar, anything that raises your blood sugar, that's sugar, processed oils, so that's your vegetable oils, including sunflower, grain-based products cause inflammation, and when you consume saturated fat along with those foods, you're asking for trouble. I mean, there's a study out there that's proved that, and the studies that say, saturated fat is bad, they haven't taken out the processed element. And it's the processed foods which is causing inflammation, which is then causing problems with cholesterol. I mean, we produce cholesterol. That's how important it is to consume in our diet. We need it.
Yeah. Totally agree.
But the problem is the saturated fat with cholesterol and inflammation together, they don't mix well.
Okay. How about your opinion on this then, before we end? 16 people went to an hospital in the UK. They're all over a certain weight. There were no obesity beds. They were given maternity beds. They are being charged, the government are being charged £60,000 per bed.
Hey?
£60,000 per bed.
Why?
Yep.
Why are they?
Because there was no obesity beds. And apparently what they're going to do, they've got these maternity beds, and they're going to £60,000 per bed. That's per day.
Who's charging who? I don't understand.
Right. The government is charging the NHS.
Charging the NHS?
Yeah, honestly,
mad, isn't it?
Honestly, right?
Oh, dear.
I was speaking to somebody today, and they said to me, Steve, have you seen this? Because I don't know if you know what I do, Liz, but I do, you do know, I do a lot of campaigning work. Yeah. Right? And I was speaking to the press, I was saying, look, This is bonkers. This should be happening. £60,000 a day, and it's not on. I don't know where they get. I don't know where. I don't know where the government is saying, "Oh, £60,000 per bed each day," then charging the NHS.
I don't understand.
I'm sure the government are part of the NHS, isn't they?
That's what I'm trying to get my head around. I mean, how can they be charging them? It's the same umbrella, isn't it? I don't know.
This is what I thought.
It's so complicated out there now, Steve. It really is. All these organisations and charging and budgets and oh Christ, I don't know. But it just doesn't sound right, does it?
I know.
So then it's no wonder the NHS haven't got any bloody money.
I know. Well, there you go. But also, what else is it? What else is it? 40 stone, obesity person, third floor flat. They had to kind of like, instead of getting them down the stairs or the lift, they had to open the window on the third floor flat to get him out.
Yeah, you see that.
Right? I don't know if you see. I don't know. Did you see that in the story in the Daily Mail? Did you have a look in the Daily Mail?
No, I haven't seen that. I mean, I have seen stories about that before, though.
Yeah, well, in the Daily Mail. So, what I'm laughing about is this: is how much they are charging the government again. How much they are charging the fire brigades had to get a wrench and get the person out, and it cost the government. I think it cost the NHS services to totally get around about £80,000. So the trouble is, we live in a world where there's a lot of obesity around, right? And please believe me, I feel that the government don't know what to do with us or do with them. You know what I'm getting at? Some people want to help themselves, right? And there's other people thinking, "Oh, well, I eat a bar of chocolate. Don't worry about it." I think it's not the way. I think, if you go over a certain, I don't like myself. You know the story about me. I didn't used to like coming on doing live, but I do it because I've been told to do it. You know what I mean? But it's too difficult, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it can be. It can be, because like you said as well before, there's so much information out there. Who's right?
Yeah.
Again, like Sarah said as well, if you find a way of eating, because like you said, I don't like calling them diets because it's such a label, isn't it? But if you could find a way of eating which does reduce your weight and improve your health, and it works for you, there is nothing wrong with that as long as it's working.
Yeah. I think you've got to, you've got to help yourself. Yeah, I remember when I went to boot camp.
Well,
that was the biggest. Yeah, but hang on for a second. That was the biggest thing I ever done in my life, right? And it was hard. It was damn hard. But when I came back, I thought to myself, well, I'm better. But then next minute, it was like I was, just turned ill. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Because so many people can kind of like rush into dieting, I believe, and
well, yeah.
Happen.
Well, it's true. I mean, if it isn't sustainable, you're not going to see it through. I mean, like Sarah said, a diet is short-term fix. You need to find something that's going to work for you for the long term. And if it isn't sustainable, which a boot camp isn't, that's not going to work. And what happens when you come off the boot camp? You just go back to eating the way you used to eat.
Well, they should have follow-up programs and stuff, but what I believe in. But there you go. I've got my different beliefs. I don't. I can't judge anybody. I'm not allowed to judge anyone. But there you go. But anyway, once again, Lucy, thank you very much.
That went quick, didn't it?
Yes, I love you a lot. Next week, I was thinking about next Thursday. I was thinking about Oh, well, I can't remember the topic.
You can let me know. Can
Yeah,
I ask Sarah something, please?
yeah.
Hello, Sarah. It's nice to meet you. He didn't introduce us. But are you at your happy weight now? Are you okay now?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So you're just maintaining.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great place to be. Well done,
Maintaining.
you. Well done. Well done.
Yeah. Okay then, Liz. I will see you next week.
Okie
Until
dokie.
until then, I will have a chat with you then
Yeah,
and
yeah,
see
in
what happens.
between. Okay, not a problem. Bye-bye, Sarah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Hello. I just want to finish off. Okay, so we were talking about cravings and everything, and I think what she was saying was some stuff was okay, some stuff was a bit. I don't really know. What do you think? Your honest opinion.
Right. I think another thing that do that is a really useful thing to do is keep a food diary.
Yeah,
So what you do is, every time you eat something, you just write it down throughout the day.
yeah,
So, you start with your breakfast, whatever, every single thing you eat in the day, you write it down. And then it's just so useful to look at the end of the day exactly what you've consumed. And then also as an extra, write down how you were feeling when you ate. Like, did you because you were hungry? You eat because you were feeling like it was a craving that you wanted to satisfy, and that is really useful thing to do
yeah,
as a tool to help you long term getting into a sensible eating pattern, which will be for life. Instead
right,
of
okay,
what is so dangerous is as we said earlier, the yo-yo dieting, losing weight, putting it back on, losing weight, putting it back on. It's not good for your body at all.
no,
You
it's
need to
not. No.
find your best weight for you, and then
Yeah, it's so difficult, isn't it? Really difficult. Okay,
very difficult. Yeah.
it is. It's so difficult. Anyway, folks, I've got to say goodbye. I'll talk to you in a minute, Sarah. Um, in the meantime, don't forget tomorrow we've got Eleanor. Can't remember the other name now. Um, anyway, we've got Eleanor tomorrow. She's a Christian country singer, and she will be with us tomorrow night. In the meantime, I'm going to say goodbye. Take care and stay safe. Until later. Bye bye.